Hi, welcome to Ear for Fear. This is Rick, and this is the podcast that talks about scary movies or movies trying to be scary. Today, joined by one of the creeps. Morris Hoylman is in the house.
What's up? What's up?
Monster Movie Man 13. If you aren't following him, go follow him. What the hell's wrong with you? Today, you and I are talking about 2015's Deathgasm. Before you and I jump into this, let's do a quick synopsis. Teenagers unwittingly summon an ancient evil entity known as the Blind One by delving into black magic while trying to escape their mundane lives. All right, man. So, Deathgasm, you recommended this one.
Yes.
I had never seen this before. I don't even think I'd heard of it ever.
I first remember hearing about it. It was first on Netflix, and I think it's not on Netflix anymore. And then it went over to Shudder, but I ended up buying it on Blu-ray. And yeah, I've seen this, a few times. I want to say this was the fourth time, and I rather enjoy it.
Yeah, this was the first time for me. This is New Zealand.
Yeah.
This is from New Zealand. And it's interesting with this because, again, only watched it the one time, but you can definitely see the kind of Peter Jackson, Sam Raimi influence on this.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, because really the bottom, I guess, like the plot is these teenagers, these four guys. They have a band called Deathgasm. They're all into metal and stuff, and they kind of like unknowingly summon a demon, which is very similar to Evil Dead.
Yeah,
they summon the demon, and then they try to figure out how, almost in a sense, putting the damn genie back in the bottle. Right? It's you've unleashed like kind of this hell, and now you're trying to figure out how do you undo it. And it's kind of similar.
This is definitely a love letter to Sam Raimi and Peter Jackson.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So right off the bat, I liked this movie. I didn't love the movie.
Yeah.
But I liked it. And I liked it. I understood what they were trying to do. I will say this, and I think I've mentioned this before, as I've gotten older, I don't like gore as much as I used to.
Right.
I don't know. It's weird. Is that just a sign of my age? I don't know what that is.
I think people change with when they mature. Some people get more into gore. Some people that it's not as important. You're just changing.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's got. I mean, it didn't like, I knew it was good. I had a feeling it was going to be gory. And it was definitely over the top gory.
Right.
But again, it's more kind of humorous. And so, kind of campy. So I get it. It's kind of like, Peter Jackson did with, say, Dead Alive. Like, it was way over the top. Right. But that was the intent, and I think that's what they were trying to do here. So let's kind of, I guess, start at the beginning. Let's go over the characters really fast. Brody is kind of the main guy. I guess he would be your lead guitarist. Does he sing? No, actually, Zach sings in the band, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, so we got Brody Medina. That's kind of like his love interest, I guess.
Yeah.
Zach is, I don't know. I'm gonna put quote unquote his friend, because as this movie plays along, and he doesn't seem like much of a friend.
No.
Then Dion and is it Giles or Giles?
Giles.
Is it Giles?
Yeah.
And they're his friends too. And they're part of the band. And then who was Shauna? Oh, Shauna was the lead of this kind of, well, I don't know if she was really the lead.
No.
She was part of this kind of weird cult that was looking for these kind of missing pages, right? To summon the
Black hymn.
Yeah. The Black Hymn.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Ricky Daggers, he's important because he was part of the I guess, is it a metal? What sort of metal is it? Is it black?
It could be a black metal band. That's what I'm thinking, because they seem like all these guys really like the corpse paint,
Okay.
and
Okay.
they were wearing that kind of stuff.
So he was kind of, he was part. He was like was he the lead singer of the band called, I think it was Haxon Sword.
Accent sword.
And
Yeah.
he basically, we find him later on. He's kind of isolated himself to. It almost looks like a crack house or a meth house, or something like kind of similar to that.
Right.
And he's the I guess the current owner of this song, this
Right.
black hymn.
He must have stolen it from them and somehow or something. But
And then we got the douchebag cousin, that's David, and then Abigail is the fortune teller. Other than that, we got a few other characters, but they're not like, I don't know if they're super important.
yeah,
Does that seem about right?
yeah, that seems like definitely.
Does that seem like to be okay? So Brody moves in with his aunt and uncle and his cousin because his mom got busted for, was it meth or something?
Yeah, she was a meth head, and she was found blowing a Santa Claus.
Oh my God. Okay.
And then they deemed her mentally unstable, so she went to an insane asylum.
Okay.
And then Brody's dad, it's assumed that he's dead.
Okay. So he moves in with aunt and uncle. They off the bat seem kind of really kind of straight, church going people.
Very religious.
So when he comes out of the car with all his heavy metal stuff, they're like, oh shit, what did we get ourselves into?
Yeah, they're trying to bless the room and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And cousin right off the bat is an a-hole.
He's just a jock dick.
You're typical, right? You're typical.
He's a bully.
He's just a bully. Yeah. He's just you know what almost reminded me of, and this is going to be so dorky, but it almost reminded me of the relationship between, say, Harry Potter and his cousin.
Absolutely.
What was the cousin's name? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Oh my God, I can't remember. But it was just like that,
It
right?
was.
Yeah. Anyways.
Where it's like Harry had no place to turn.
Yeah.
And he had to live with his aunt and uncle.
You feel, yeah.
You felt for him because, he's stuck in this situation where he probably doesn't want to be.
Yeah. And you can obviously tell he's not wanted.
Right.
And it was the same situation with Harry and this Brody guy. Like, shit, I have no other place to go, but here I am, And so, but he, let's see, he befriends Dion and Giles.
Yeah.
They're, what are these kind of like nerdy?
They're the nerds.
They're the nerds. They're playing, what are they playing? Like Dungeons and Dragons and stuff. Some board game.
Yeah. Some role playing game. And it's just funny how, what was the guy with the glasses again? Dion.
Dion, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, hey, you want to see something really cool? But he found him with his cousin and his cousin's friend, like bullying Dion.
Yeah, they were bullying him.
And it was just shitty. Right off the bat, you're like, man, this cousin and the friend are just total a-hole dicks.
They are. But I mean, in movies like this, there's always that, right?
Yeah.
There's always this. And so it's kind of like a trope. It's like, all right. And then, down the road when they die, you're like, all right, you assholes,
So David, the cousin, he's got this girlfriend, Medina,
yeah.
And she's just, you could tell that she doesn't like his bullying. It's wearing on her and she's getting tired of it. But anyway, go ahead.
Oh no. So let's see. I think Brody he's cool with Dion and is it Giles? I'm gonna
Giles.
I'm gonna mess this up. Giles. I'm gonna write Jiles. That way I know to put the J. Yeah. He's friends with them and they're cool, I guess, to a point, but he's looking for some action, right? This small little town. And then he's in a local record store. What was the name? Was it Alien or something? Alien Vinyl or something?
Alien Records?
Records or Vinyl. Yeah. Which is kind of a cool name. And he goes in there and this is where he meets Zach. Zach they're similar, right? Zach seems to be kind of.
They're both metalheads.
Zach seems to be more of a, kind of I don't know, man.
I want to say
Screw Authority and all this other shit.
Yeah, Zach seems like he's just kind of a loner, does his own thing, even if it involves committing crimes and stuff like that.
Yes,
he's just a bad kid.
I'll be honest, man. I didn't really care for him through most of the movie, and I think that was probably the point, because he never really seemed to give a crap about Brody.
Yeah.
He just almost kind of just wanted another person to do this crazy crap with.
Yeah.
And as the movie
raise hell.
Yeah. And as the movie plays out, you kind of see that, like, he never really had his best interest at heart, man. But
it wasn't until the end, but we'll talk about that.
Until the end. But you can tell there's this connection with Brody and Medina, and which is just that was kind of funny with me. Like, I mean, for the sake of the movie, I get it. Do you really think like this new kid looking the way he does, all of a sudden gets, hooks up with basically the most popular girl at
best looking girl.
Yeah.
Because she's cute, but
not the fact that she's cute.
She seems
kind of
straight laced.
Straight laced. I'm not gonna say preppy, but she's like your student body president type, right? But she's the head cheerleader type. I'm not saying she is, but she reminds you of that.
So this is how I took it. The way I took it is that, this is a hyperkinetic film style, as we'll talk about this, the film style is very hyperkinetic to where it's kind of like Peter Jackson, where it's this kind of crazy and scenes kind of are comical. This is a comedy horror, well, with an emphasis on the comedy. But so this world's not going to really make sense. It's just for the narrative. It's going to make it's going to make sense that she's bored with the cousin David who's a dick. And she probably wants something different. And Brody's different than anybody there at school.
Pretty much.
Because Zach doesn't go to school. He was kicked out.
Yeah. For stabbing somebody.
with a protractor.
What was it? Because they stepped on one of his albums or something. I thought that was pretty funny.
That was funny.
I'll tell you what I did. I'll tell you some of the best parts I loved. And this was towards the beginning when Brody first sees Medina. And he has like this kind of like this, not really a dream, but like a vision.
Oh, but he's listening to music.
He's listening listening to music, and he has this, and it pans to like this really cool scene where he's on like top of a mountain and he's shredding it with a guitar.
And he has two girls on his legs.
No, I think it was just Medina. She had that.
Oh,
yeah, remember?
That's right.
And then he looks down at her and he like zaps her with like a laser and dude, I loved this part.
And then her top falls off.
Her top falls off. I was like, this is cool. I'm digging this, right? And because I think later on in the movie when
she's listening to music,
when Brody introduces her to metal and she pops in, I don't know what she was listening to. Do you remember what it was?
No.
Nah. And all of a sudden she hears it and it was like this, and then so she has a little, like a vision of herself on a mountain.
It's like a little fantasy dream.
Yeah, like a fantasy. And then she's got two girls on each leg. This was awesome.
And then the girls were making out.
Yeah,
it was hilarious. And then she's like flipping around the axe, which actually comes into play later.
Oh, that's right.
With her with an axe.
Yeah. No, I mean, I love stuff like that. Like stuff like that. I enjoy those types of things. Those little things to me stand out and then you kind of got me on board, and then I'm like, okay, where's this ride going to take me?
Right.
And that was fairly early on in the movie. But I think so. David sees Brody and Medina at, I think, a park, and he gets pissed off, beats the crap. Him and his friend beat the shit out of Brody.
Right.
And Brody's he just doesn't really stick up for himself, right?
No.
He's very passive. He just kind of lets stuff happen, especially when it has to do with his cousin. And so he's sick of this shit, right? So then at what point so Zach and Brody, they break into that house that we were talking about.
Right.
And this is where Ricky Daggers is.
Right.
And he looks straight like a meth head, right? Look, the house is a shithole. He's basically isolated himself to a bedroom. It looks like there's blankets and stuff on the windows, and he's laying there, and they're not sure if he's alive or dead.
Newspaper clippings of Ricky Daggers' band on the wall, which is Haxon's
Sword.
Yeah. But evidently Zach knew that Ricky Daggers was there.
Well, there was some sort of someone leak it or something on the internet.
Yeah, it was like on a little like a handout. It was
okay.
And later on we find out that Black Order devil worshipping cult.
Yeah.
Whatever, that they got wind of it and that they followed to the house.
Because they sent a guy there. But so Zach and Brody, well, really Zach breaks in, right? Brody follows them.
Yeah.
They come across Ricky Daggers. He's laying on, looks like a mattress on the ground. And he's basically, he's got a hold of an album.
Yeah.
And I don't remember the name of the album, but it was his album.
Yeah, it was the last album.
And it's a rare album.
It's a rare album. And that really reminded me of the movie Trick or Treat, where it's like a limited edition album.
Oh, with Skippy from
Family Ties.
From Family Ties. That's the one with Gene Simmons. And is Ozzy in that?
Ozzy's in it too.
Dude, I saw that once back in the 80s, and that was enough for me.
They had.
Do you like that movie?
Yeah, actually, I do.
Really? Is it so I watched it the one time and I hated it. But again, that was in the 80s.
Dude,
so
it's the 80s, and it had, because every movie that came after Elm Street tried to do Elm Street. I mean, think of...
Is that what Trick or Treat tried to do?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
God, dude, I don't remember.
Trick or Treat tried to do an Elm Street. Even Wes Craven tried to do Elm Street again with Shocker. You know, it's just...
Yeah. Movie that... I mean, that's that movie, like, started out good, and then I just got bored with it.
Yeah.
Like, the idea is kind of cool, but... Maybe I should give Trick or Treat another chance. I think, you know what it was? I was a huge fan of Family Ties, and I watched it religiously. And Skippy was just this nerdy kind of next door neighbor, right?
Right.
And then when I saw him in this movie, it didn't fit for me.
Yeah.
It was almost like, I don't know if it's exactly the same, but it was almost like Edward Furlong in, say, Terminator, and then he was doing, what was that, brain scan? It almost didn't fit for me. I don't know. Did it work for you? I don't know.
It did.
It did. Yeah. Maybe I need to revisit that movie. Do you own it? I'm sure you do.
Yeah, they don't have an official DVD again, you know, or a Blu-ray.
Yeah.
There's like German stuff that's out there, but yeah, we're waiting for like a high def version of that. Hopefully, you know, someone like Severin or Vinegar Syndrome will put that out, you know.
Yeah, maybe I should give it another watch, you know.
Yeah, there is a German Blu-ray, and I think it might be all region, but it's that's hard to say. I'd have to research that a little bit more. But anyway, yeah.
So they get the album, right?
Yeah, they get the album, and then Ricky wakes up, steals the album back to them because he has a knife on him. And
was it a knife? I thought it was like a bat or something.
Oh, that's right. He did have a bat.
He like had a bat, right?
He did have a bat.
Gets it back. Then he hears someone coming in.
Right. And then he hands them pages from the album.
No, he actually hands them the album. It says like, guard it with your life or hide it or something. And then the person who is sent to kind of get this back.
He's like an assassin.
Kind of like an assassin, right? And then Ricky, I think, tries to hit him with the bat. Doesn't work. They fight a little bit. He slices Ricky's neck.
Yeah.
With the
straight razor.
Again, I will say this. I thought the effects for the most part were pretty good.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what the budget was on this thing.
Low,
but these practical. See, like I've said a million times, I love practical effects, and these him slicing his neck looked
really good.
As we get further on, I thought the demons were good. I thought the voices they matched up, because you can do this really wrong.
Yeah.
Look, was it the greatest? Well, no, it's not. But it was good.
I would say that this went into the area of Peter Jackson filmmaking.
Yes.
Especially since this is also from New Zealand, where Peter Jackson's from. So they probably just took a footnote out of his career,
man,
and probably did their practical effects just like him.
Yeah.
I think there was very little CG. The only CG I saw was when later on, obviously, when the demons are, people are starting to turn into a demon. You could tell that the CG when their faces are going like that.
Yeah.
That was a little CG.
I didn't mind that so much.
Yeah.
So they get back to Brody's house, his garage.
Yeah. The garage.
Or no. Hold on. Was it, or was it Zach's house?
It was,
or Zach's
no, it's, that's always been Brody's house.
Okay.
Or
so
it
was Brody's garage.
Yeah.
And then they open up, Zach opens up the album thinking, sweet, man, we're going to,
And then it was some shitty,
pop what it was? It was, I looked it up. It was Rick Astley.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. So this is interesting. And I didn't know this. Maybe you've heard of this. There's a thing. It's called Rick Rolling. Have you heard of this? And I think this was kind of
new to me.
So it was kind of their, like, maybe, I don't know, jab at it, or maybe a little, they were paying homage to it. But I guess there's this thing right online on the internet where you somehow, you lead people they think they're going to be listening to, like, say, a certain song by whoever.
Oh, and then never going to give you up.
Yep, and then never going to give you up comes up by Rick Astley.
That was like a thing back in like the early to mid 2000s. Well,
let's see, what the hell was I missed this thing.
No, that was back then.
So this is what they were doing. So I guess the album was Rick Astley.
Yeah,
and that was their kind of homage to this Rick rolling. It's and I thought, and I
never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down. Never gonna turn around and desert you.
Okay, look, I mean, I will say this. That is one of my guilty pleasure songs. I know it's so terrible. But come on, man. Anyone out there that's listening, you like that song. You like that song, man.
Dude, I like a lot of shitty pop songs, but they're just fun. They're stupid.
They are fun. Well, you and I growing up in the 80s, man. I mean, So they realize, okay, the record's nothing, but then these pages come out and you realize it's sheet music.
Yeah, and it's old. They kept saying that. It looks really old.
And so because they have their band Deathgasm, hey, let's maybe learn this song.
Yeah.
And now you would say the song they're playing is pretty typical of, I know there's not a such thing as summoning demons, but
right.
But I would say this was right up that lines, right?
Oh, it's
fitting of
it's very tritone. So it's very doom and gloom, which is, I mean, go back to Black Sabbath, the song Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
Off the album Black Sabbath from Black Sabbath. That's very tritone.
Black Sabbath? Is that what you said?
It's very dum, dum, which is the tritone, which summons demons.
Yeah.
It welcomes, it invites evil. That's the tritone. And they even describe it in The Conjuring. Remember they were saying that it comes in threes.
That's right.
Yeah. It's the three knocks. It's the tritone. Yeah. So it's you can read literature about it throughout the internet and throughout the ages. And the tritone is the song of the devil. So they just made it convenient for this script, for the narrative that.
Oh, it works. To me, it works. Yeah. Like it reminded me of, it reminded me of like a lot of the movies that we watched, say in the 80s that delved into, say, like demons, like The Gate comes to mind, and it had a kind of that sound.
Right.
And it worked, like, cause it could have sounded like crap and it was this doesn't work at all. But no, I mean, they obviously did their homework and it sounded like it.
Oh, dude, this movie totally reminds me of The Gate, Trick or Treat, Hard Rock Zombies, and then also Black Roses. Remember, Black Roses was a metal band that they played their music and then demons would come out of their.
Don't see. You were more into metal than I was.
Yeah.
I do not remember them.
So yeah, that was a horror movie.
That was a horror movie?
Yeah.
Oh no, I've never seen Black Roses, man.
Yeah.
Is it good?
Yeah. I mean, it's
your version of good in mine sometimes is way off.
No, it's so if you didn't like Trick or Treat, you definitely won't.
I won't like Black Roses.
No.
When did Black Roses come out?
Maybe 86, 87.
Oh, okay. So around the same time.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this was really a popular trope, because of Elm Street, because of Nightmare. A lot of that, you went from being a regular stalk and slash killer to more supernatural, elements and demon elements.
Well, I mean, so you growing up listening you to metal, I did not. Right. Okay. So you might be able to answer this better.
Sure.
When do you think the kind of height of that popularity of, how can I say this? Like similar to The Gate, the certain types of, stuff that you wear, the jackets with, I'm not going to say necessarily leather, but let's say it's, with the patches and all of this.
Shit. Well, that was I would say that was early on in the 80s to the late 80s and even into the 90s. But
would you say more on the metal side versus the punk? I'm not, because I know punk became really big in the late 70s, early 80s. But when did the transition, say, from punk to, say, metal? Because there's definitely a difference between punk and metal.
I can answer
not the sound, but the look. That.
Okay. So that's from the new wave of British heavy metal. And that came around in like 1980.
Okay.
I mean, you can even argue that some albums came out in 79, but the real movement came 80, 81 with Saxon and, Accept and Motorhead and Iron Maiden.
So would you, so the difference between, the punk transition, not even transition is the right word. If you had, okay, let me give you like an example.
Right.
I put two people in front of you. I don't even care if it's a man or a woman.
Mm-hmm.
One listens to punk, one listens to metal. Could you tell the difference?
Yeah.
By
what they're wearing?
Yeah. Punk was a lot of mohawks, right? Like,
yeah.
I'm not gonna say colored hair. You don't see a lot of metal guys with colored hair.
Right.
Usually the long hair, right? I mean,
the true punks from the late 70s to the early 80s probably died out in the early 80s, and then
they did.
Yeah, and then
see, that's what I would think. Yeah,
and then maybe even punks turned to metal or punks turned to goth. Because goth was big in the 80s too.
I mean, that's true.
I mean, I'm sure there's still a punk movement, because you had Black Flag, you had TUSOL, you had all these other Agent Orange, Dead Kennedys. They carried on through the 80s. Samhain, which was the Misfits, but and why it's not the Misfits? It's really Glenn Danzig's own band.
Okay.
Samhain.
Oh, yeah.
Before he became Danzig.
Oh, okay.
So
because to me,
there is a punk movement, but to answer your question, no, they're two different things, man. I mean,
I know they're two different things, definitely.
And
I think my point is, I remember, I didn't listen to metal back in the 80s. I know you did.
Mm-hmm.
I do remember there was this influx of movies that had to do with metal, like that undertone that you're talking about. Like I said, The Gate and Trick or Treat.
Right.
It was almost like this, like the slashers had their like peak, right?
Right.
And then I would say almost like this sort of movie, this Summon of the Demons, let's play it backwards or whatever, had like a kind of like its peak.
I mean, I would say mid 80s made it more popular, where like early 80s is the music was more underground. Mid 80s to late 80s, like thrash and black metal and death metal and that kind of stuff became more popular. Well, death metal was like invented.
That was later on, though.
Yeah, it was in the late 80s.
Yeah.
So, to answer your question, it was more, even though, the metal scene's more niche, it was more popular niche in the late 80s.
Yes.
So
with the rise of certain bands,
right?
Metallica became so huge, like they were. They had a following, right?
They opened the floodgates to more of a movement. Yeah. To give you more perspective.
Yeah. Anyways, I don't know what the hell what started that. I don't remember.
You're probably thinking like black metal bands and dressing like that and wearing the patches and the stuff like that.
I was just curious because I remember, watching a lot of horror movies in the 80s and The Gate was one of them that, and I remember, again, Trick or Treat, I only saw the one time, but it had that subject matter.
Right.
And I'm trying to remember some of the other ones I've watched, but it seemed like it had all of these subgenres kind of have a peak, right?
Right.
And I was just in my head, I was trying to think, okay, I remember it being bigger then. And then it kind of just went away. It didn't mean that people still didn't do like a version of a demon movie,
right?
But it got rid of let's play the album backwards, and you know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
yeah. But Brody, let's get back to that. I guess we'll get back to the movie itself. Brody, after getting his ass whooped by his cousin and his friend, he knew something was up with this black hymn, right? He knew if he played it, maybe it would give him some sort of powers. He felt powerless, right?
Right.
We've established that he's living with his aunt and uncle. He really doesn't have shit, and he's getting his ass whooped on a regular basis.
Well, they did play it once.
They did, and
they felt really weird and different.
They did, but they didn't really catch on. Like, okay, what happened here?
No, I think he caught on that there was something that was up with them playing it at that point.
No one else did.
No one else did.
Yeah,
just him.
The other guys.
Remember, he kept it to himself.
Yeah, he did. And so then now he's like, F this, man. He just got his ass whooped, and they play the song, And I think the garage door opens and literally everyone in the neighborhood can hear this, and they're, what are they like?
Vomiting blood.
Vomiting blood.
They're
vomiting blood.
Shaking.
I think their eyes.
They're convulsing.
Yeah, convulsing. I think their eyes are bleeding. I don't know if their ears were bleeding. I don't remember that.
They basically blood was coming out of every orifice.
There you go.
So even they're out of their like the teacher out of his ass.
Oh my God, that was
and
wrong.
Then he was throwing up on that girl.
That was so reminding me of something Peter Jackson would have done on the earlier films.
Oh, totally.
But yeah, but it didn't seem to. It only seemed to affect the people in the neighborhood, which makes sense because the music only travels so far.
Right.
But then once you have it, and then you start attacking people, then it turns them into demons. That's what was weird to me. Like, I see the zombie thing, right? You know, you're a zombie, you bite someone, and now they're a zombie. But I mean, so if you're a demon,
I think you have to be a demon to begin with. I don't think you can pass it because remember, Brody got bit and he didn't turn into a demon.
No, I thought Brody got scratched.
He
got scratched.
But
then
maybe,
I guess
he was protected because he was the one playing the music.
Maybe.
But it's never.
Maybe it was to give it.
It's never explained.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, I don't know, man. Because it almost seemed like to me like people were being attacked and then they were becoming.
So it was a disease.
Yeah, I don't know.
Almost like Night of the Demons.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. There you go.
Where you're passing it on.
Yeah.
Or even Evil Dead, you're passing it on.
True. Yeah. So, what happens? We got the scene at the school, like you said, with the teacher.
Yeah.
In the meantime, Medina's into Brody. She gives Zach a note. Zach doesn't give it to Brody. And he shows up to meet Medina at the park, gets her drunk, and basically they make out.
And then it's implied that they hooked up. But they hooked up. But they didn't say exactly what happened.
Yeah. The guy's kind of an a-hole, like I said, man. He just doesn't seem to care. I mean, he kind of acts like he cares, but then he doesn't really care about Brody at all.
No, he kind of has his own agenda.
But it kind of fits with who he is, right?
Right.
I mean, who he's depicted as in this movie. So it kind of makes sense.
Right.
Where do we go from here? I know there's the scene at the school with the teachers bleeding out of his ass.
Right.
I think Brody's in the he's in the bathroom and his cousin's friend rolls in and he's clearly a demon.
Yeah.
And there's something about their eyes, right? They have to wear something over their eyes
because their eyes, they pick their eyes out.
They pick their eyes out.
Yeah.
Which is cool. Like
that was a cool touch.
I like this. Like I love the makeup. I love the voice. The demon voice all sounds the same, which I'm okay with. I don't have any issue with that.
Every demon voice you hear.
But I'll tell you this. A lot of movies don't do it right. Like it doesn't have a proper sound. I've seen other movies where I'm like, oh God, either I can't understand it or it doesn't sound right. And I think there was another movie we did and I had a problem with the voice. And I don't remember if that was the cleansing hour.
Oh.
Donovan and I did the cleansing hour, I think sometime last year. And I don't know if it was that one or maybe it was another movie, but the voice didn't sound right to me. And that's important.
Right.
It's got to have a specific sound.
I think the two movies that have a great sound are the first and second Evil Dead. And then also Night of the Demons.
Yes. Yeah, I would agree with you on that.
Night of the Demons, they had a good demon voice sound.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Anyways, really the whole town is kind of going to shits, right?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, at this point, it seems like most everyone in the town is a demon.
And it looks like, I mean, if you were not to know any better, it looks like a zombie apocalypse. It looks like like running zombies killing each other or people, getting killed by,
So I'm trying to think. I think, is Zach, there's a scene where where Zach and Brody go back to his dad's, Zach's garage, because I think he's a mechanic.
Oh yeah.
And then they're in there and dad is banging his head on the garage door.
And you could tell something's wrong with him.
Yeah, you could definitely tell, man. I mean, come on. And so he's a demon, attacks Zach or both of them.
And this was very reminiscent of I would say this was more Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Where they're killing him. They end up killing Zach's dad.
What? Oh, it was the grinder, right?
Yeah,
he was
grinding
his face off.
Yeah, Brody was grinding his face off, and then they got him on the ground, and then Zach dropped an engine block on his head.
Yeah, which is cool. I like these elements, right?
Yeah.
I mean, these are, again, it reminds us of a Sam Raimi or Peter Jackson. These are, because we like these two directors. It's like, it's fun. And
oh, dude, we're leaving something out that I thought was fucking hilarious. I thought it was the most hilarious part of the entire fucking movie. So we're led to the assassin that killed Ricky Daggers.
Yes.
And he comes back without the pages to the main guy, which I think his name is Aeon.
I don't remember his name.
Aeon.
Yeah.
And little we know that, Shauna's head is down between his legs, giving him a blowjob.
Yes, yeah.
But he comes in, and then there's two guys dressed in robes with masks on. And, they chop his head off for not. And then he's like, oh, you did it on the expensive rug. He's like, do it again. Then they lay the plastic down. And then the guy puts his head back on. And then he's looking over at Aeon. He looks over at him like this, kind of like a dog. And then chops it, and then it falls over. And then he sticks his hand out like, is that good? Because they're both silent, but.
Well, yeah, because they're all dressed all dressed in whatever garb they're wearing, right? And it's like, well, how do we do this? We already chopped his head off. And it literally, it's like a fake chop.
Yeah.
And then he just kind of drops the head.
And it's like, huh? Like
that's better or something. I forgot about that part.
Every time I see that, I fucking roll at that part because it's so fucking stupid.
It is so stupid.
And they're silent, so they don't say anything. They're miming their actions with their hands.
It's supposed to be kind of like this very serious part, right?
Yeah.
And then it's all of a sudden you introduce this kind of comedy to it, and and that's what you're getting throughout most of this movie, right?
Yeah.
Like you get a little bit of seriousness, but then you get a lot of comedy, sprinkled in, which is I
mean, if people like Dead Alive, they're gonna love this movie. If people
think so.
Evil Dead 2, it's same thing.
Yeah. Now I will say, I mean, on a smaller scale for sure, but I absolutely think they will like it.
Maybe they won't love it, but they'll know what to expect. Yeah, that's probably the best thing to say.
And that was kind of like with me. Like I said, I did like this movie. I didn't love it, but I liked it, and I had never seen it, and it just was entertaining. And really, when you sit down to watch a movie, right, that's kind of what it boils down to. I want to be entertained. Because I'm watching a movie to get away from all the other, I don't know,
right,
stuff that happens in our everyday mundane lives, right? So when I sit down to watch a movie,
you want to be swept away.
Yes, and but there's a scene where Medina and Dion and Giles, I said his name right, they show up to Brody's house. And
they're attacked by David's friend, right?
Was it David's friend? No, was it David's friend?
I think it was David's friend.
It might have been David's friend. I don't remember.
Yeah,
but
and he was getting he was going to kill Dion, right?
One of the guys. Yeah, I don't remember which guy. And I thought it was funny because was it Dion had the whole cans?
He had the whole cans.
Like that was going to somehow kill demons. I don't know. And the other guy had a paint gun.
Yeah, he had a paintball gun.
I'm like, a paintball gun. I'm like, paint gun. A paintball gun. I'm like,
he stuck the role playing dice in there, and then they were stuck in that Dave. I can't remember David's friend's name, but he was a dick.
Yeah, I don't remember his name. And he shot him in the head, and it's stuck in his head, but it's not going to kill him. And then Medina shows up behind him with an axe and basically cuts him in half, I think.
And she was a badass.
She was a badass with the axe.
Yeah, she was just swinging
a bad ass with the axe. Yeah.
She was swinging that axe around like she was on.
Like she got good. Like
she was a ninja.
Like, dude, like she got like how did she get so good so quick? Like, because it literally just. I don't know, for the sake of the movie, I guess.
I think because it's a comedy and it's hyperkinetic. And you look the other way.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. But they write a note on put it on Brody's front door. Mm-hmm. Hey, we're at the school. Then later on, Zach and Brody show up to the house. Well, of course, Zach sees the note ahead of time, grabs it and sticks it in his pocket. Dude, he's just out. He just has his own agenda here, man. He just doesn't give a shit. He almost, it's weird. It's almost like he wants to.
Well, he was covering up the fact that he hooked up with Medina. So that's how I took it this time that I watched it.
Oh.
And other viewings, I thought he was just being a dick, that he wanted Medina for himself. But I think he just didn't want it out of the bag that he hooked up with her.
Hooked up. Okay.
Yeah, that was the whole play on that.
What that was?
So
it was almost like this selfish. See, I took it as, again, I've only seen the one time.
I think he was remorseful, and that was the way that he was trying to hide his lie.
Really?
That's how I took it this time.
Oh, okay.
Before I took it like you.
Yeah.
But seeing it again, it made a little bit more sense.
Oh, okay.
That even though he's a dick and he did his buddy wrong by hooking up with the girl that his buddy liked, it's like he was remorseful for doing it. You could kind of tell in his actions, and that he was trying to keep it a secret.
Huh.
Just, I don't know, to spare the truth, spare the fact that he didn't want to maybe lose his buddy. I don't know. Yeah. Who knows?
But if you, okay, I mean, I can understand that. But if you really think about it, it kind of contradicts his whole character, right?
It does.
Because he's a guy that doesn't give a shit about anything.
Well, it contradicts his character. So you see these little portions of him that peek out, and we'll talk about it later when he comes. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, they go into the house. Aunt and uncle are demons.
They're demons. And it's full on
this is oh my God. This is great, right? Because there's a big fight, but then they go into the aunt and uncle's bedroom, and they're looking for weapons.
Weapons, yeah. And they found a box.
Now remind you, just in case the listeners forgot, they're big time church going folk.
Yeah.
And then they have a box. So what did the box say? It said something like...
It said religious items?
Religious items, and it was literally all these sex toys.
Yeah, it was like
double-headed... and like...
anal beads. It had a double-headed
dildos and like, oh my God.
And like a fucking... the rabbit, the rabbit with the little massagers and...
Sure, I don't...
it's all this...
I don't know
what
you're talking about, Morris.
Oh, yeah, whatever. So, no, it's got all this stuff, and I thought it was fucking hilarious. So, they come busting out of the bedroom...
like swinging the dildo.
And the thing is I love that they did the director did the slow
motion. Yeah. I love slow motion when it's fitting.
Right.
Like when you do it just for the sake of doing it and it doesn't make sense, then don't do it because it's just a trick. And this was fitting. And they're beating the crap out of aunt and uncle with these things, but it's not doing any. They're demons.
Yeah, they're demons.
You're not going to beat them to death with a dildo.
No, I mean, it's like when you hit like a deadite. It smacks them back but they turn their head.
Yeah,
it's these guys were basically like deadites.
Yeah. And I think doesn't Brody he runs out to like the garage to he grabs the chainsaw. And
he
Zach,
runs back in, and then he drops the chainsaw. And it's running.
And it's running. And I think Uncle has Zach inside the bedroom. I don't remember what happens here. How does he kill? Does he kill the uncle? Does Zach kill the uncle?
I think Zach shoves the dildo in the uncle's mouth.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Doesn't he? And doesn't he? Yeah.
And it busts his jaw.
And it busts his jaw open.
Yeah.
Good practical effects here.
Yeah. You could tell that wasn't CG. Yeah.
No. Yeah. And then I think then Brody gets the chainsaw, and I think he basically cuts the ant in half.
Oh, because the ant jumps on him, and then the ant's pushing his head closer to the chainsaw blade.
Yeah.
But then I think Zach helps Brody.
I think he does. I don't know what he does here. Does he hit her or something? Knocks her? I don't know. But then, or does he stab her with something? I'm trying to remember.
I'm trying to remember too. But yeah, basically the chainsaw goes through the ant, but she's still alive. Remember?
Yes. Yeah. Still alive. And then Brody cuts her in half, and then I think they're just chilling they're kind of chilling on the couch right now just to kind of regroup. And then the cousin rolls in, the David, the asshole cousin, and he looks normal.
He's totally normal.
And literally Brody jumps up with a chainsaw and
chops his head off.
Chops him in half. And Zach's like, dude, he was clearly not a demon. I don't know. He was a demon.
No, he was definitely a demon.
He was definitely a demon.
Dude, that was fucking hilarious. It was like he was justifying it to get back at his fucking
dude, he was
dumbass.
An asshole. Yeah, man.
It's like, no one's going to question that shit. He was a demon.
Yeah. That was pretty good. Just the here and there sprinkling of these little elements of comedy and stuff it fit.
And it was hilarious where Zach positioned they had an uncle and they looked like they were 69
each other. Yeah.
And then freaking Brody's like, really, man?
Yeah. Yeah. And now, okay, so Zach and Brody hop in his car, right? And Zach's like, dude, we're getting out of town. He's like, dude, that's not happening, man.
Yeah.
I got to go find out where Medina and Giles and Dion are.
Right.
And he basically, I think he gets out of the car and he's walking away. And it's like, Zach's like, all right, man, I'll take you. And they end up to the high school.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they're seeing all over all this demon attacks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is the town's essentially kind of burning, right? There's a lot of fires and certain parts.
Everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. And so they end up at the high school and, I'm trying to remember, dude, did something happen before they got into the classroom to kind of lock themselves up? I'm trying to remember when did this, the Shauna, that was later on, wasn't it? That was at the house.
Yeah.
When Shauna shows up. Because Shauna ends up killing the one guy.
Oh, yeah.
With the dagger into the mouth. Remember, he was kind of the head of this cult. And then she wanted the power. So she ends up killing him.
But before that, remember Brody and Zach, before they go to the high school, they went to go see the fortune teller.
That's right.
And they went to the record store.
That was Abigail.
And
Abigail was essentially kind of turned already,
no,
right? She wasn't like all the way, but she looked like she was turning into.
She was beat up.
Oh, is that what was it?
And then she's trying to tell them what they need to do. They need to play the black hymn backwards in order to make everything stop. And unfortunately, her husband was turned, and then he freaking threw his arm through her, and that's what had happened.
Okay, pulled out her heart.
Yeah, he pulled out her heart. So he killed her, and then I think essentially turned her into a demon.
Okay.
Because she was a demon later on in the movie.
This is gonna be kind of dorky. This is totally off, only because of what we were talking about earlier. Is it possible that the album by Hacksaw Sword, where it had Ricky Daggers,
right?
It was a rare album. I remember it being in the record store for like $200-$300.
Right.
Is it possible that the song was on there and you could have just played it backwards and it would have solved this whole issue?
Maybe.
What?
Right.
I don't know, man. I mean, possibly. Maybe it was on there.
Well,
maybe it was a track on there and all you had to do was play it backwards and it would have solved all this.
And see, that's the thing that reminded me of both The Gate and Trick or Treat, because remember they're playing the record backwards and that's what unleashed the shit.
Yeah.
But also, maybe because it was so rare that.
Remember the guy at the record store says there's only 666 in print.
Yeah.
And it was rare. Is it possible, playing the actual track let's just say if it was a track on the album,
it's possible
playing it backwards could have resolved all of this. I don't know. I'm just being dumb.
No,
but
not at all.
Who knows?
But
let's see. They're at the high school. I think Medina sees that Brody has that nasty, gnarly gash on his hand, goes to wrap it up for him. And then Brody sees Zach's jacket in her bag and, oh, dude, what's going on here?
And then he pieced everything together. Yeah. Of course, the two of them admit it.
Yeah.
And then that's when a fight ensues from Brody and Zach.
And Zach whoops his ass.
Yeah, man. because Zach's a bigger guy.
He's a bigger guy. And just look, Brody.
He's not a fighter.
He's not a fighter, man. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. And so then Zach leaves.
Yeah, he's a dick. He's like, dick. He's like, fuck off. You guys can just die here.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah. And so they go, I think the four of them. So now we got Giles, Dion, Medina, Brody.
And they go back to
Ricky Dagger's house because they need to be able to play this backwards, but there's no amps.
Right.
Everything's fried,
and
right?
They remember Ricky Daggers had that wall of amps.
The wall of amps.
Yeah.
The wall of amps. Yeah. That sounds like a cool.
Yeah.
The wall of amps. What could that be? Could that be like a, anyways. So they get over to the house, right? Is it all four of them? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the
death cult is there.
Yeah. The cult is there. And this is kind of your climax of the movie.
Oh, and we have to say that so this demon that they're trying to summon.
What was the name of the demon? Do you remember?
Oh fuck, I'm trying to remember now. Eliath?
Eliath? Something like that.
Eliath, which is a real demon.
Oh, okay.
In demon lore. Just like Leviathan or Beelzebub or Pazuzu. Yeah, Eliath is a real demon on one of the planes of hell. And or Paimon, that's another one.
Oh yeah.
From Hereditary.
You know a lot of demons, man.
Yeah, I do. No. But anyway, so that chick wanted to have her body be the vessel for Eliath to come back.
Okay, so so Brody's trying to play the black hymn backwards.
Right.
And in the meantime, let's see. What Medina's trying to do basically he needs time to play this thing, but we have all these demons are coming in, and they're attacking them. They're just essentially trying to buy him time to play this thing. In the meantime, Giles and Dion get killed, and fairly quickly. I kind of felt like, damn, that was quick. And I don't know, it kind of surprised me a little bit. Like I felt like, okay, maybe they die, but I don't know. Maybe they get a lot of licks in before this happens. And no, I mean, like Giles
gets his arms ripped off.
I think Giles. Okay. Yes, you're right. Giles gets his arms ripped off. Dion, basically his whole head and spine are ripped out.
Oh, like a fucking predator,
which I dig. Yeah. I love these scenes. These are great.
They remind me of Predator.
Yeah. And then Zach shows back up, and he's helping them kick some ass. He's finally kind of redeems himself a little bit. He's
like, no, fuckers, I'm gonna, because they were gonna die because Brody's on stage. He's trying to play the music, and it's just not working.
It's not working. Yeah.
And they're gonna get killed.
But in the meantime, aren't the pages ripped up?
Oh, that's right, because she rips
the pages up. So now he has to play this backwards,
right,
and try
by memory.
Yeah, by memory. And but Zach kicks some ass. Doesn't he go outside with the chainsaw and he does like some cool?
Oh yeah, he's swinging around.
Yeah, he kind of does like some like Bruce Campbell shit, right?
Totally.
Yeah, and like slices the heads of all these demons with this chainsaw. He does this kind of goofy spin, and during the spin is cutting off all their heads. It was whatever.
That was kind of cool.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. And then let's see here. I'm trying to remember here. We have now Medina and Brody are inside the house, but then this demon comes down, right? Because time runs out. Because the 3 a.m. hits and it's like, okay, it comes down.
Oh, and they stabbed Shauna. So
stabbed Shauna.
So Shauna gets stabbed while the demon's coming down, and then who's the closest one that it was Zach.
Zach. Okay,
because the demon takes possession of the one that's
is the darkest or dominant. Was it more dark?
Yeah,
it would be the most dark versus.
And I'm sure because she was like showing that dark side, and he kills her, that it just funneled and vesseled into her.
Okay,
yeah.
This is where I had an issue.
Yeah,
the demon or whatever, it looked like shit, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is my issue in most movies that try to do this. When you try to create this devil, this demon with the horns, it never ever works for me.
Yeah.
It always looks like shit. This looked terrible.
So you mean like Tenacious D?
Shit, dude, I would almost argue Tenacious D did a pretty good job of it. Even it's a damn comedy.
Yeah.
Okay, I know I brought Cleansing Hour up a little bit ago, but in the Cleansing Hour, it's a pretty good movie, right? Then you get to this part and it was just garbage. It looked terrible. I
haven't seen that.
You should check it out. I think you would like it. It always seems to, and I don't know why. Is it they overthink it? Do they run out of money? Do they just not know how to execute it? It is never any good, and it looks like crap. This was one of the worst ones. It looked terrible, dude. Like, I was like, okay, this movie's cool up until this part. I'm like, this is it.
Well, the thing it reminded me of is like when the old, the series Buffy the Vampire Slayer would play, they would have the Demon of the Week. And it reminded me of the Demon.
I never watched Buffy.
Yeah.
It didn't look like a show I would probably into.
The funny thing is, it's like you can go one of two ways, which is CG Demon.
Yeah.
Which, with their budget, I'm sure it would have looked like Sci-Fi Channel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or you do practical, and they went practical, but the practical was bad. It was Zach with a mask on.
It was, dude, I mean, some of their practical effects were really good. What happened here?
Yeah.
Like, how do you drop the ball on this? I mean, it's clear, dude, it looks like shit.
Well, the thing he should have been was it should have made him bigger or somehow.
So how about this? Instead of like a mask, why don't you just put horns on the person, make their eyes evil? I don't know. I mean, dude, because fuck, dude, Sam Raimi did it on a zero budget.
Right.
In Evil Dead. There are things that you can do, little tricks you can do that are not that costly that would have solved this problem. Why did you think that this mask was your solution here? It looked, dude, it bothered me so much. Obviously, you can tell because I'm really.
Yeah. Yeah. It's unfortunate because if you think of ultimate evil, you always think of darkness from Legend, the movie Legend.
Yes.
And which was, Tim Curry as darkness.
Oh, was Tim Curry dude, a movie from the 80s.
He looks like Lucifer, basically.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a damn good one.
But see, a lot of people try to copy that like Dave Grohl looked in Tenacious D.
Totally. Yeah. I agree. But it looked good.
Yeah.
There's ways of doing it. They just failed miserably on this for me. It kind of left a little bit of a bad taste for me because I enjoyed the movie for the most part up until that. I'm like, oh,
you look like the Demon of the Week from Buffy.
Is that how bad they looked on Buffy? Okay.
Well, some look better than others, but Buffy had either, if they did a one-off, episode that didn't tie into like a full narrative. They had, the Demon of the Week.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I never watched it, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
But what happened? How did they kill Zer?
Oh, because his soul was still inside.
Yes.
And it was kind of like The Exorcist, where it's like, kill me, kill me now. It's like, do it.
Yeah.
So when he came back and he was Zach for just a moment, it's like that was the way to get rid of him.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess the day's kind of saved, right? After I think all the town is basically seemed like all the town was, I don't know.
So they kill him and Zach dies and the evil is wiped out because the main demon's dead now. Then
we basically get the end where the uncle and aunt's house is for sale. And Medina and Brody are living there, right? Yeah. And Medina looks like she leaves. I don't know. Maybe she goes to work,
but she looks all meddled out.
She looks meddled out now. Yeah. And she's got her little tattoo,
and she got a little nose
which
ring.
She had talked about. Yeah, which she had talked about early on in the movie about getting a tattoo, and I thought the tattoo was pretty cool. It's like it basically was her with an axe, right?
Yeah.
chopping up demons.
Yeah.
And then she leaves, and then this kind of darkness kind of takes over the room with Brody, right? And it's Zach kind of messing with him.
Yeah.
And doesn't he play the album at this?
So we have to go through the credits, and the end credits. It's basically Brody is, Zach and Brody are still friends. It kind of reminded me more or less like Shaun of the Dead, where where Shaun and Ed are still friends. Even though you
could almost argue Vamp, right?
At the very end.
With the Christopher Makepeace and Robert Ressler, where
it's like, hey, how are we gonna do it, man? I can take night classes.
Yeah. And he's walking down into the sewers. Yeah.
So this is basically Brody and Zach. It's like, hey, man, how's hell down there? And, it's like, it's pretty good.
Yeah. Did he say he was like? He had like met up with a bunch of like iconic rockers.
Yeah.
Did he say Paul McCartney?
Yeah, he did say Paul McCartney.
So screwed up. It's like he's still alive.
Well, the funny thing is he's probably thinking he's feeding into that the controversy that Paul died in a car accident. and it's the real Paul's down there.
The real Paul's down there. That's funny.
Yeah.
And then I love the little kind of banter about like band names. That he was gonna. Was it the band name Down in Hell, or was it the band name that maybe Brody should reform a band and call it such as
reform a band?
Yeah. And then the movie ends, and yeah, dude, it was. Like I said, this is a cool little flick. Cool.
Was one of the band names Jizz? What was it? Jizz Shoot or something?
I don't remember. Some of the band names are pretty creative though. Yeah. But yeah, dude, that's Deathgasm as a whole.
Yeah.
Cool little movie. Like I said, I didn't love it, but I liked it. I was entertained, and really that's kind of what it boils down to. I think I would recommend this movie to someone.
Yeah, especially if they like metal and they like horror movies and they like comedy.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely gory.
Yeah.
So if you're okay with gore,
if you're a lover of, say Dead Alive and Evil Dead 2.
Or Evil Dead, or any kind of fan of any of the, say, anything that Peter Jackson or Sam Raimi did in kind of the horror genre.
Yeah.
Nowadays, they don't really do that, but I think you're probably like this.
Was this a first time for the director? Was his name Jason Lee?
I don't know.
Howden?
I don't know if it was his first outing. I didn't look that up.
I know that.
To me, I would almost say no, because he did a lot of good things that I think a first-time director probably doesn't execute well.
Right.
I don't know.
I know that he did Guns Akimbo afterwards.
Oh, the one with Daniel Radcliffe?
Yeah. That was the last one he did. Yeah.
He did.
Yeah.
I liked that movie.
That was really good.
I gotta revisit that one. I only saw it the one time.
That was pretty good.
Yeah. Other than that, dude, what do you think? I know you would recommend it.
I would definitely recommend it. If I had to put this on a 10 scale, I'd say probably like a 6 out of 10 for me. Maybe 6.5 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, I think I'm on the same page with you on that. Yeah. I think that's about it, man. I don't think there's anything we missed. I think that's everything.
Yeah. I think that was it. I mean,
yeah.
Other than you had like a little tidbit of
I did.
So they're filming a little video.
Oh, in the movie, when they're doing that. Oh, yeah.
They're out in the forest.
Yeah.
It was reminiscent of a black metal band from Norway.
Immortal, right?
Immortal, the band Immortal.
Call of the Winter Moon. Now, I had never heard of this band, and right before the episode, you and I YouTubed it, and damn, it was like totally
almost the same.
It was almost the same.
And the funny thing is all of them are wearing the corpse paint, except for Giles, who's the drummer.
Yes.
He had fucking Peter Criss. He had the Peter Criss cat makeup on.
Dude, that was pretty funny.
That was hilarious.
I love little things like that. I think I mean, that's what makes movies like this really fun, because they're not trying to be too serious. And if they could laugh at themselves during the movie, it's cool. And I enjoy stuff like that.
Exactly, man.
But yeah, I forgot about that. That was good. Oh man. Well, I guess that's it, dude.
Yep.
Thanks for coming out. Appreciate it as always. I guess that is it. You'll be coming back out soon, and you and I are going to do The Wretched, I think, right? 2019's The Wretched.
Yeah. Next episode, The Wretched.
Yeah. Again, everyone, thanks for listening. Everyone, take care. You listened all the way to the end. We appreciate that. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Ear for Fear Podcast, Twitter at Ear for Fear, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Ear for Fear Podcast. You can also check out our website, earforfear.com. There we list news and events. We're available on all the main platforms, so make sure you tell a friend. We hope you come back and get an earful.